G'day, Clint here from Waterpro, still with my unnamed podcast. I'm here with Mitch Davies from Sand and Stone Landscaping, and today we're going to talk about landscaping and Mitch's history in the market, and that's pretty much it. All things Mitch and all things landscaping, so hope you enjoy.
Y'all ready to turn it up tonight? If you really want to fly, your hands in the air, let the music get you high.
Look at this. So I'm going to have to learn to read.
I wasn't sure if you
Is it going to pop up?
I wasn't sure if you were a reader.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't sure if we'd spoken about audiobooks versus...
Yeah, because you sent me the stack of them anyway, the audiobooks.
Yeah, do you listen to them?
Yeah, when I can. It's got a... Oh, sweet.
So I've started listening to that, but
Yep.
in true Clint fashion, I've gotten distracted by fucking shiny objects.
It doesn't at all sound like you.
No. So, anyway, what are we doing? Podcast.
Talking about stuff.
So, hi. Happy. That was for your birthday, actually. That was,
Thank you very much.
so, happy birthday for Sunday?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Simon's birthday Sunday as well.
Sweet. Lucky. There's a stack of birthdays on the 11th, which is weird.
Well, there's only 365 days, I guess, for 7.7
Yeah.
billion people to
It is what it is.
to share. So thank you for coming and being my second guest.
Thanks for having me.
I, as usual, I didn't even bring a pen or paper this time, and I was going to do that. I'll message for a pen. So I guess, I just want to, as we still don't have a name for it, Unplanned with Clint Adams.
Certainly not the Breakfast Club.
I think that's winning.
Yeah.
Unplanned. I can't use unscripted because Jack Delosa has unscripted, which I think
Sounds
is
too formal anyway. That's not
unplanned.
Really,
Off the cuff.
Off the cuff. Yeah, someone's
Very
surely got
Aussie.
that though.
Off the cuff. Did you Google that shit?
Shooting the shit with Clint.
Shooting the shit. So, I guess nobody listening will know anything about either of us. So rather than me trying to say for the three people out there that don't know who you are, so for everyone who has no idea who you are, tell us a bit about, I guess, what the last 5 years of your life and how you got to being a director of a landscaping company now.
Sure. I'd say if we're going to go back...
We can go back 10 years if you want.
Well, I mean, the story sort of does start, I guess, in high school, the end of high school. Had a pretty varied... Thank you.
That's right.
Casually. Sort of fell into it more than anything. So I was doing year 12 at school down south, Tatachilla. Tatachilla, yeah.
Public school?
No, private school.
Private school?
Not your Scotches.
Religious private?
Yeah, Lutheran. Not your Scotches of the world, but good school. So the plan was never landscaping. Plan was always to be in the Air Force.
As a pilot?
Yes.
Yep.
So I went and obviously sat on my tests and things like that. Did the medicals, all that sort of gear. Unfortunately, I had a car accident that year during year 12 and suffered a pretty serious brain injury. And they wouldn't let me do it anymore.
This is so bad, but a brain injury that made you a landscaper.
Yeah, no. I've downgraded from a pilot to a landscaper.
So
anyway.
Did you get your test results for the pilot?
Yeah, so they said it. So they go essentially when you sit your test to see what you can do, they give you a sheet. Whatever's highlighted, you can do. And I sort of looked at it and went, "Well, that's highlighted. I'm definitely gonna go do that."
Pilot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you're not going to be the guy that changes the tires.
Yeah. So
if car accident not happened, you're a pilot. Through the training.
Well, yeah. I mean, whether I made it or not, will never be seen. But
you were eligible to go.
Absolutely, yeah. That was the plan. Now I plant plants.
So the injury affected obviously part of your brain. What sight or something?
No. So short-term memory was horrendous.
Yep.
Problem-solving ability was gone. I couldn't do simple maths for about 5 years.
And so that's all cool now. Like you have to retrain your brain, or
it took a long time. So that was 2009. I was in year 12. Probably, I'd say until probably 13. Yep. Couldn't really do.
Finish year 12.
Failed it miserably.
Yep.
So
you should have just dropped out.
But I tried.
Yep.
And sort of when your parents are paying that sort of money, you give it a bit of a crack, regardless of whether you're gonna finish it or not. So finished it, failed. There's all sort of mental things that were going on during that year.
Yep.
Everything that you could do, you could no longer do, and it's just really, really strange. Like a flick of a switch, you couldn't do it anymore. Finished year 12. Growing up down south, McLaren Vale, Malson Beach, did vintage.
Yep. Just one? Just that one?
Just the one.
Yep.
And nothing exciting. It was just stick picking.
Yep.
It wasn't making wine or anything. I never did that.
Stick picking is picking grapes?
No, essentially, so when the harvester cruises through the vineyards, you're
Yep.
literally just getting sticks that get stuck out of the back of the machine. And
Yep.
and at that stage, being 17, it was unreal money.
And easy work. You're just walking along.
Just walking along at night time. So, you know.
Oh, so they were harvested because it was hot?
No, so whites are at night and reds during the day.
Sorry. What's that?
Don't know, it's just better pick temperature, I guess. So, yeah, just doing that all night. And essentially made enough money that didn't work for 6 months after that. And, you know, I sort of had my own difficulties with accepting things still.
Yep. Well, I mean, especially at that age, like you obviously, you don't have the mental tools to deal with that kind of thing. Like that was my whole life. That was the plan.
Yep.
Okay, so did a vintage, and what then didn't work for 6 months.
And literally just sat around, and then sort of until my parents got sick of it. Essentially.
So you're still living at home at that point?
Yeah, still living at home, and they said, "Well, look, mate, you got to apply for some jobs." And I went, "Well, you're probably right." One of your customers actually, CLS, had a position open for an apprentice. Went and sat my interview with them, with Gary.
Yep.
I can remember vividly. He said, "Well, why do you want to be a landscaper?" I said, "Well, I like being outside."
Yep.
And that was essentially. I didn't have anything else to tell him. It's not a job that I'd sort of ever really wanted. Did that for about 8 months.
So you worked in a commercial landscaping first?
Yep, commercial landscaping.
And that was an apprenticeship. So if you'd finished that, you would have. Or did you finish your apprenticeship?
I didn't.
You didn't?
I didn't.
And so if you'd finished that, you would have had what, Cert 4?
Cert 3 in
Cert
Port.
3, yep.
Yep.
Okay, so you worked there, and then what, didn't like commercial, or?
It was sort of, it wasn't testing me.
Yep. It can be quite repetitive on those large scale jobs, I guess.
And being the first year, you're doing all the garbage. And it's a bit princessy.
That's normal, though. That's normal.
Oh.
But that's your choice, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
You don't need to keep working there if you don't want to.
No.
That's the freedom.
So from there, sort of found my way into a job with Josh.
Landscape Techniques.
Landscape Techniques. Yep. He took me on as a labourer.
Yep.
I was there for a few years.
Yep.
And Josh, Tyler.
Yep. So you worked with Tyler back then?
Yeah. So he was my supervisor back then. He was pretty green with Josh, but he obviously knew what he was doing. So we worked together a fair bit for years.
Yep.
Moved on from there
to Guys Touch.
To Guys Touch.
Yep.
And obviously I was there for a little while. Sort of went a little bit over landscaping. This isn't really what I want to do.
Yep.
Had sort of regained problem-solving ability and all that sort of gear. I mean, that's sort of putting it easy.
So you fixed your brain on other people's dime?
Well, yeah, pretty well. Went and sat a stat test for uni. Thought, well, I'm not going to go back to the Air Force because I can't do that. Went and sat the stat test for uni for, of all things, mineral geoscience. Just thought, well, aim high. Got in, and then I went, a bit too lazy for that.
So you didn't finish year 12, so you didn't have... Or
so
you failed year 12?
No, I failed year 12, so I didn't get the score that was required.
Yep.
So it was longer than 2 years, so I had to go sit a test.
Okay, cool.
So it was...
Which you would have needed to do to get a higher level degree anyway.
Yeah.
Your TER wouldn't have got you into whatever you wanted to.
No.
So that's the test that I would go to if I wanted to go to uni now?
Essentially the same thing.
And then you didn't get in, or you did get in?
No, I did get in.
No shit, and then you just went...
And then I just went, you know what, this is actually really boring.
Yep. How many years at uni would that be? 4? 3?
It would have been 4, and then I guess you progress from there.
And then you start at the bottom of that chosen career.
Yep. And then, I mean, at that stage, mining was booming as it's going to again, so I thought that was the industry to be in. Potentially was going to be on a bit late, after studying. Maybe I would have been right now, but for then.
I guess it depends how good you are as well. Like, you can be late to the party, but if you're good, then...
Yeah, and there's... Yeah, again, I could have been terrible at it. Yeah. So... Started that, kept working for Guy. Nice voice break there, that's good. Then I sort of went, well, again, not really doing it for me.
And so then started Sand and Stone?
No. So I actually went and did put myself through further study with the Master Builders and became a junior site supervisor in commercial building.
Okay, so so that's through Master Builders. Did you have to be a member of the Master Builders? Okay, so you go there, you pay for your course.
Yeah, so they had their separate college there and did that full time.
As a site supervisor?
So that was the end game. So at the end of that, then
you'd work for a construction company or a builder or a landscaper? Or it's not quite, it's more building?
It's commercial construction. So during that time, I was doing work experience for Sarah Constructions.
Yep. Is that part of the course?
You've got to do it.
Yeah.
There was promise of a job at the end of it, but they were going through a whole company restructure. I don't know if you've seen now they're doing a stack of bigger work. Anyway, that didn't eventuate, so we moved on from there.
Yep.
Got a job with Tagaras.
Yep.
We all know what happened there.
Yep.
And I sort of went, well, I've been applying for jobs. I'm a bit over this.
Did you finish your site supervision? Yep. So what's is that a certificate?
That's a Cert 4 and diploma in building construction.
Yeah, cool. So that obviously is going to come in handy.
Yeah.
There's things you've learned.
All the time.
Yep.
Structural principles. Learning how to deal with people on a different level as well, being in the commercial sort of higher end of the construction, rather than just, building things. You're having to talk to new subbies all the time and organise things. So that was sort of learning on the job.
Contract stuff as well? Did they do contract stuff?
Yeah, they did.
Yep, so that's going to help.
So there's estimation, contracts, building, so the full scope of it. We just had to do that.
Yep.
So.
And then you finished that, couldn't get the job. So then Sand and Stone.
Yes.
Yep.
Then Sand and Stone. So
which was just you?
It was just me.
What's it? I really want a pen and paper. So from a timeline point of view, when did Sand and Stone start?
I would say the idea for Sand and Stone was probably May, June 15.
Okay, cool. So that's you, May, June. So start of financial year 16. Kind of thing.
So May of 2015.
So the 15-16 financial year, you start as a partnership? As a sole trader?
Yeah, as a sole trader. I think I was officially up and running in August because I went and put myself through another course for business management, and we couldn't officially start our business until after that.
And because you said we couldn't start, as in...
Anyone who did that course wasn't allowed to have been trading until that course was done.
So did you do your builder's license inside all that? Yep. So you did
I did my builder's license while I was doing the commercial building stuff.
So you get so that was part of that. You get a builder's license for a supervisor's license.
Yeah. So then I just had to add all the landscape.
So they'd have a module for accounting, a module for tax. The reason I ask this, obviously, there's going to be people that are listening that are interested in the process of getting a builder's license.
Yep.
And obviously the different avenues in which you can go to do it. So you can either, I guess, work for someone. And
well, I think within the course that I did, they have, I believe it's, if you're external, it's a 2-weekend course for finance and business law. So we did that within the full-time period. But I think if you don't have a license, you go and then do that externally.
I did mine in 2010, I reckon. And they were 2 10-week modules. So you did it 3 hours a week externally, and I was like, I'm not taking 10 weeks to do this shit. So I ended up bringing the lecturer, and they let me sit down with them for 3 hours. Yeah, and we did the whole lot. So
I think it's too.
It's quite basic.
I think it's 2 weekends. It's
pretty basic.
Yeah.
It's what, don't get ripped off. Don't rip off.
This is how you do tax.
This is how many dollars a week, dollars an hour you need to charge to cover your costs and all that kind of thing.
Pretty well don't even. Thank you. They pretty well don't even tell you what you need to charge.
Yeah,
so,
we did it. We just did a bit of an exercise where they said, how much money do you want to earn, and then how much are your costs going to be, and how many hours a week of chargeable work do you think you'll do?
Yep.
And so we went, okay, well, in a normal work week, if your staff are doing 40 hours of paid, they're getting paid for 40 hours a week. They're only actually going to be doing 30 hours of paid work a week because that's just the operational way of the world. Or you're charging day rates on your staff so that it doesn't matter. We were so young. It was like 2010.
I mean, there's so many variables within that too, between your industry and my industry.
I was going to be landscaping. The builder's license I went for was retaining walls up to a metre, paving, rainwater tanks, stormwater, that kind of thing.
Yep.
So at the time we were laying turf and doing subsurface irrigation, and that was big back then. Oh, it would have been even earlier than 10. It was probably...
So that's when the water restrictions and things were in. And
yeah, from memory, I left Newton's 08.
Yep.
And then 09. I can't have been. Yeah, 09. It's so bad. I'm so bad with stuff that's happened. I just don't. It's gone.
Yeah.
I don't care.
You're worrying about what's
in the
forward.
past. That's right.
Exactly
I know my plans for the next 5, 10, 15 years.
But you don't know what happened 2 years ago.
Dude, I can't remember what happened on the weekend. People go, oh, what'd you do? I'm like, oh, fucking, I don't know.
It's done now.
I know
it's out. Yeah.
Which I don't know if that's just my personality or if I subconsciously...
I do the same thing. I try not to fill my brain with too much. So once it's done, it's done.
So anyway, I did my builder's license, and I don't have it anymore, but that was really... The courses were really about making sure that you contractually did the right thing by your clients. So you made sure that you were making... like you weren't charging that was a good one, deposits.
Yeah, there's a percentage of
you
that
can
you're
only
allowed
charge,
to.
10% up to $1,000 until there's materials on site, and that might have changed.
And no, it hasn't, and that's sort of the thing.
It's crazy low, isn't it?
It's a grey area, and I've had the discussion a lot since, and I'm sort of like, well, I wish we could sort of do more, and and people do, but I really like to avoid doing the wrong thing, so I just sort of stick to that.
Yeah,
so.
And I guess the way around it is to put stock on site, and get something on site and go
progress payments and milestone payments.
Which it's funny that you mentioned that. I'd say that there's a lot of landscapers out there that their weakest point is the progress payments, contracts, chasing their money, invoicing on time, because they got into landscaping because they enjoyed they're simply being outside, or they got into landscaping because they liked building shit.
Well, and there's a whole world that you just don't know about. So
and it's so easy to get caught up in just doing the work. You don't charge for it.
You don't keep a track. You might potentially have a couple of jobs on, and you lose where you're at, and things get lost. And
So what? You're in year 3 now, or year 2?
Yeah, I'll be in year 3. So we've just gone 2.5 years in. So essentially, when it was started, it was just myself and a green Commodore and a trailer.
Yep, that's how most landscapers start. We talked about that last week. If you've got a trailer, you're a landscaper. Obviously, you entered into it a little bit differently. You got your builder's license.
Yeah.
You'd done
4 years I did all the right things. I mean, essentially, I'd done the training, whether it was official or not, with Josh and Tyler and Guy, and had a really good scope.
That's pretty diverse, though. Like, to go CLS, landscape techniques, and a guy's touch, they all are different businesses, different
you're going
size
from like
businesses.
multi-personnel commercial to Josh's sort of boutique, but a lot of dudes, and just Guy and I.
Yeah, which is a challenge again, working director 1-to-1.
And that's how I learned to deal with clients as well, because it was just Guy and I.
Yep.
So if he's not there, a lot of they're
going to come to you. Yep.
So
whereas landscape techniques, Josh is more likely to have that contact, or there's another tier between you and the director that takes care of that.
Sure. Tyler was always getting that. I wasn't getting that.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So then you've grown quite rapidly in 2.5 years. How many staff have you got now?
We have 5.
5, including you?
No.
So plus you. So that's pretty crazy.
And then there's going to be potentially a 6th coming on pretty soon. So I won't count 2 chickens until they hatch, but that's sort of where we're aiming.
And your main business is landscaping. You're moving into other markets. The stormwater thing.
I mean, that stormwater still
comes up. You can still do it.
Yeah. Well, stormwater is a means to an end.
Yep.
We think there's an opportunity, obviously, to make money there.
Yep.
A lot of bad stormwater is getting done.
Yeah, I'd say there's probably something that's I don't know if it's under-regulated or under-watched, or...
I think it's underappreciated how big of an impact it can have.
Oh, man, massively. We, and I guess there's, it's just almost like, it's just tacked on at the end. So you build a house and the builder will say, we can do stormwater for you as well. It's just another number.
It's just sort of like a vague thing.
Or a letterbox.
And it...
you
can run into some serious issues down the track if it's not done properly, and we've seen it all, and it's pretty crazy.
A sealed system, and then you've obviously got your rainwater tanks to plumb to the house.
Yep. So we started that. We've done a fair bit of it. Obviously, we've got the master plumber involved.
Yeah. So you've got an employee who's a plumber.
Yeah, who's a qualified plumber.
Yep.
Now he had his own business for a while. Situation changed. It
wasn't for him.
Pretty well. It's not. Yep. It's not for everyone. Yep. So he's come over full time.
Yep. But he's also landscaping.
Yes, he is. In the meantime,
someone on site who can do master ball valve or takeoffs, water.
He's doing some today. Yeah. So, but his wealth of knowledge as far as plumbing is concerned is going to be far more than mine ever will.
Yep.
We've got a pretty diverse little crew. So we've got obviously Sean, who's the master plumber. We've got Thomas, who's the boiler maker by trade. Liam's the bricklayer.
Yep. And these are their trades.
They're all qualified tradesmen.
Yep.
In their own right. And obviously we've got Brandon, the apprentice.
Yep.
So he'll
be a landscaper.
So he'll be qualified in horticulture and landscape construction. Yep. So he's got sort of all this going on around him. So it's pretty diverse. There's a lot of different ways of thinking too, which is good.
And then landscape design, landscape architecture.
Yeah, so we've got Amelia on board who's doing her master's in landscape architecture.
So she finished her landscape architecture degree.
Yep.
And now she's doing a master's.
Yes.
Yep.
So she works with us I think she does about 25 hours a week.
Yep.
So while she's studying, obviously.
That's cool though, because it just gives you the ability to have that as a tool in your toolbox without having to commit to a full-time
100%.
wage
And,
in such early
and
stage.
she's learning on the job. So instead of just, working for a firm and she's sat in an office, drafting or doing whatever, she's out on site with us, measuring up, doing quotes for me, estimating. So she's getting a pretty rounded approach to it as well.
So obviously hiring staff in South Australia in your market's been is a big challenge at the moment.
Yep.
Have you found it challenging?
I've had it pretty easy.
Yeah, I was going to say it appears like you've pulled, and I guess if it's, I don't know where you've found these people, if they've come from social circles, if they're all people that you've known inside your network.
See, I've known Amelia since high school.
Yep.
Liam, I've known a long time.
Yep.
Brandon obviously is the external, but he was recommended to me by a friend.
Yep.
Thomas is an ex-brother-in-law. Sean I've known for a long time. So
Yep.
pretty fortunate in the fact that I've had this.
So your
group
next
around.
hires are going to be the hard ones. That's when it's going to, or you might be able to leverage off those people.
The next hire is going to be the difficult one, and I think everyone's sort of crying out for this exact same position as well.
Qualified landscape supervisors.
That can supervise,
Yep.
and we can just leave them to it.
I don't know what the answer is going to be for that. I spoke to Inika about it last week, and I think that it's going to be a 3. We actually went and had lunch after the podcast and talked a bit about that it's going to be a 3 to 5 year, even longer plan for the market to actually get into schools and talk to.
Well, I think Brandon's going to be a candidate for that when he's done.
Yeah.
Because there's not a lot of domestic landscaping apprentices that I'm aware of. Obviously, you've got your commercial like I was, and you've got exotics or CLS or Outside Ideas. I believe he's got a stack of them. But
I don't know. LCS. I spoke to LCS, and I think they might have 2 to 4 apprentices, and I think they'll continue to do that. But
I know
in
Gary,
a workforce of 100 plus, 4's.
When I was with Gary at CLS, though, every 6 months they'll take on 2 new ones.
Yeah.
So as 2 are finishing, 2 are starting. So.
And you're going to get what? Half of them aren't going to work out or more.
Yep. I mean, I'm classic example. I didn't work, so
yeah. And they put a lot of time and money into you, and that's just the market. So I want to try and make sure that we bring value to, I guess, other landscapers that might be listening. What have been, I guess, the biggest challenges? You're coming into a pretty established market. Like there's a lot of 30 and 40-year-old and 50-year-old directors doing some pretty crazy work. You're coming in now as a 2.5-year-old company.
Knocking on the door of some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, like, do you find that, I guess, is it daunting going up against these guys? Do you feel like there's gaps in your
I don't know if it's daunting.
Your skills?
There's definitely there's a lack of experience. It's not daunting. I think it's exciting.
Yep.
I've had a lot of help, not so much
kind of off the record help.
Yeah, there's a lot of people I can call on
and
ask questions. I mean, you and I have conversations all the time.
So you think the market's supportive of new blood?
Yes.
Or the right guys are supportive of...
100%. And I think sort of the dinner we had the other night and Master Landscapers in general has aided that.
Yep.
So...
And do you... I'm kind of trying to get a bit, I guess, a 360 degree view. So if someone contacts you to do a quote, what does that process look like? You'll go out and sit down with a client? I'm going to ask, obviously I'm going to probably speak with a lot of landscapers in my, in what is this, unplanned, unscripted? No, I can't use unscripted. Anyway.
Whatever it comes to be.
I'm really curious to see how everyone's, is everyone operating with Xero or is everyone operating with Benchmark as an estimating tool? Are you using Photoshop or what do they use? What's the design software?
AutoCAD or
the Vectorworks.
Vectorworks, yep.
So what's your tool chest look like?
So all quotes are done on Xero.
Yep.
As for the design, I believe most of it's AutoCAD at the moment.
Yep.
I'll sort of leave that up to Amelia, to be completely honest.
Fine by me. I have no idea how he has.
Yeah, she uses. Look, if I could afford Vectorworks, I'd be straight into it.
Yep.
I've been run through it a fair bit.
Yep.
That looks unreal as far as estimating and things. I think it would make my life a lot easier.
And do you do the designs and then give them to her to do, or you kind of sit down she'll come to site with you and talk about the general concept?
It's sort of, I would say it's 70-30. Like I'd say 70% it's, I want this to look like this. Yep. Can you please draw that up?
Yep.
And she'll have her input. And I mean, there's other people helping us as far as design. That's probably the thing I never really learnt as far as working for other people.
But there's no shame in that being like, I've not had a design background. Like it's just
whatever I think
you're
will
better
work
off coming
and
to the party and going, hey, I don't know, like
help me. You know,
like
come and
well, what do you want?
yeah.
We're not charging you for the design anyway.
Yeah.
If you're not, and I don't know if you are, or it's very
not yet. It's
charge.
pretty minor.
So,
It depends on how detailed they want it to.
yeah. I mean, I've seen some of the photos on.
Yep.
Um,
And you can see the price scale if you look at sort of the real basic ones up until, you know, I think the one we put up
the
at
blooper reel.
the one we put up at Craigburn Farm the other day, that's far more detailed. And,
Yeah.
and that's a chargeable design,
Yep.
definitely.
If you, I guess this is, you don't have to answer all
No.
these questions, but if you do a design for someone and they go ahead with the job, does the design fee stay as a design fee, or do you look at offsetting that against design?
No, it comes off
the job. Yep.
But that's sort of the hard part for us being so new as well into the design sort of industries. How do we get that charge across? Because there's every potential they're going to take the design and give it to someone else.
Well, we've got the same problem here, and irrigation design. There's no real beautiful IP. It's just it's our knowledge. Like we've obviously plot where the stuff goes, and
Yep.
but it's not like, I guess, a custom designed concrete bench top that like is like, holy what?
Yep.
Like, you know, there's only 2 people in the state that
Sure.
can build it, let alone, do you know what I mean? So we have our design could easily be taken anywhere, and you could buy the system off of any shop and put it in. So what we do is we offer free irrigation design, and if you buy the materials from us, you'll get given the design.
Yeah.
Short of that, you won't even get given it. So I don't know. You know,
I'm not overly pushy with it at the moment. I'm sort of trying to feel it, and because
you
Amelia
get a
and
gut
I
feeling for the client as well.
exactly, and because Amelia and I haven't been working together too long either. I mean, she's still learning.
Yep.
So I feel as though that I will take the brunt of that cost, obviously, because it's going to take X for her to do a design. Whereas
Well, it's an investment, isn't it?
it's an investment in her future and my future.
Yep.
So
do you think that will she come on board when she finishes?
well,
Or
that's the
it's
plan.
just
I mean,
time goes-
that's the plan. Admittedly, she's probably going to meet a whole lot of people while she's studying and things like that. We're going to go to MIFCUS.
Yep.
She's going to.
So when are you going over there this year?
Yes.
So next week?
Yep.
Thursday, Friday?
Friday.
Yep, cool. I'll still be there Friday. I'm gonna fly over there for like 6 hours or something stupid.
Well, I think I'm going overnight and meet Tyler there and go look at the lights at night and, you know.
So
stuff like that.
will you be there Friday morning?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I'm keen to do a breakfast on Friday morning with whoever's over there. So will you go Friday or you go over Thursday?
I'll go Friday, but
Yeah, early.
get
Yeah.
on the early one.
Yeah, that's Tyler and I talked about doing a breakfast, and I thought it would be cool to get all the Adelaide. It's funny how much, like Inika and I spoke about it last week, how much has that changed with that. Like 10 years ago, no one was going to Melbourne to look at anything, let alone you know that. And then we've got other clients that will go to Melbourne to meet with landscape architects, like paving manufacturers. Like there's just a whole.
Well, I don't know. I don't know how much value there will potentially be in it for me as far as networking. I don't think we're there yet. You know,
It depends what you're looking for. Like,
I mean, you're going to be Philip Withers there and things like that.
my networking is perfect for it because
100%.
I can sell irrigation to every one of them.
I'm literally just going there to have a look at some gardens and get some design ideas, essentially,
Inspiration.
and teach Amelia. So, you know, this is what we're aiming for.
Yeah.
Start thinking about that now.
And you'd have idols in the market as well,
100%.
I'm guessing.
There's people. I've got a supplier in Melbourne that I've not even met yet.
Yeah.
And he comes over and does work here. Obviously, phone calls, emails, but I've never met him, so I'm going to go there and, you know, have a beer with him. And
Yeah,
you know,
I think that's what a lot of guys will use that as an opportunity. For me, this is going to sound really bad, but I have no care in what's being installed from a landscape point of view. I'm there to see the people installing it.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate a beautiful landscape, but
it's not what you're there for.
No.
You're there to make sure it stays beautiful, but, you know.
So Inika posted on our right hook, on our Waterpro Trade Community Facebook page, you know, as members we get discount tickets, and I don't need a ticket because I'm not even going to enter.
You're just going to be there.
Well, that's where the
you're
party's
around
at.
it.
I'll be at the dinner, which is the Thursday
night, yeah.
which I think's in Carlton Gardens, which I have no idea on the infrastructure, but I have.
I was talking to people about going to that.
The garden.
But for you, that's beneficial. For me, that's not.
Mate, I could meet 2 landscapers that are looking to come to SA at some point, or a guy who's got, you know, 100-person commercial landscape business in Melbourne who's disgruntled with their current supplier and happy to look at buying.
Totally
from us.
beneficial
There's so
for
much
you.
shit we could do.
As far as designers, I mean,
Plus, we're going to Melbourne eventually anyway.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm starting to collect chips. Like, can I help you? Can I help you? Can I help you? Can I help you?
Start planting a seed.
We've already got a few clients over there that are happy to receive us, I guess. But DK thought that was good. That's that huffing in the background's DK laughing. But yeah, so I'll go there for that, and then maybe have breakfast and fly home.
Yep.
I might not even see a garden, and it just is what it is, I guess.
Yep.
But you'll take Amelia over there.
Yeah. Initially, I was going to take everyone.
Big cost.
Well, it's not even really that. I just think our current workload doesn't really allow it.
Yep.
I might even still evaluate it in the week because I haven't booked tickets or anything yet.
No.
You know,
I've only bought my flight there. I haven't booked a flight back yet.
Yeah.
I'll cross that bridge when, because I might wait till.
I'm just
I find
working
out
out see how the week goes, how I feel.
Yeah, it's tough. I've got a 2-day week this week, and then it'll be what. But it's a work week still. Like it's for you, it might be a little bit leisurely. Like I'm on. Like I'm going to be selling and talking.
I'll talk to people who are willing.
Yep.
But other than that, it's
that's why you go to the show. They can't move, man. They're on their stand. You have to hit them.
Yeah.
So, so you've got zero from an accounting point of view.
Yep.
Design.
AutoCAD, potentially Vectorworks.
Whatever Amelia's using. Do you then with your zero? Do you chase your quotes? Like, do you just send a quote and hope for the best? Do you call your client?
I think it depends.
What does the sales
to
chain
be
look like?
Perfectly honest, I think it depends what position we're in at the time.
Yep.
So
if you're hungry, you chase harder.
well, and I'm not going to lie about it.
No.
So it depends what we're doing at the time, how much we've got on, whether I really like the job.
Yep.
You know, generally I chase all of them.
Yep.
There's some I go to look at a job. I'm like, well, I've probably potentially not won that, regardless of setting a price
because you were the third quote in their mind,
or I sort of, because of where our market is south, potentially haven't got the budget.
So you're east south ish.
That's sort of
east south hills ish.
Ideally we're east, but it's not there yet.
Well, that's where everyone wants to be.
That's where everyone wants to be,
I guess. And it's not necessarily about the profit, but it's about the budget that a client has and the freedom that they're willing
and the jobs
to
you get to do
that nice work. Like, it's not about.
I'm not fussed about the money. It's about I want to
nice stuff. Yep.
I want to be able to design something and I look back and go, this is unreal.
Or to go back and visit. I've seen some great stuff. I think it's David Baptiste, where he goes back to his gardens and you get a photo of like the plant growth that I guess as a designer
I think
they can
Rob,
see in their
Rob
head.
put one up yesterday as well as a visited garden and things like that, because they look after it. If you're spending that much money on a job, they're looking after it.
Yeah, well, in most cases, someone's looking after it for them. It's not even them. Like, they've got gardens.
We tried to do that.
Sorry, I'm looking at your Instagram while you're talking.
Oh, thanks. It's a long time ago now.
No, that's why I'm gonna start doing this. I want to go back to your first post and ask you about it. But
we tried the maintenance sort of sector as well.
Yeah. I think that's even harder to hire than landscape construction.
Yep. We tried it, but I don't think South was the right place for it. We tried to implement a maintenance schedule with our jobs, but they weren't really the jobs for it.
Yep. And then you price yourself out of the market if you include it.
Yep.
I think even in the East, I know that we've got other landscapers that have talked about allowing for there to be, a year's maintenance off the back of the job. Even then, it can sometimes put you out.
We put people on monthly schedules for their lawns and things like that. And it worked. I mean, admittedly, I think at the end of it, we were just doing lawns.
Yep.
And there's still select clients that we will do work for.
Yep.
But we're too busy.
Yep. Which sometimes you're better off not doing it, aren't you? Kind of
it's sort of
learning to say no.
It becomes a little bit of a hindrance.
Especially when it's not what you like. I talk about aces in their places, and it's not my idea. But if you're concentrating on doing your key work, like you've got all these circles of like stuff you make money on, stuff you enjoy doing, and stuff you're good at. Yep. That middle bit. Actually, DK can draw this for us on YouTube.
When we get together, and
you know what I mean? Like
absolutely.
That bit in the middle, that maybe not mowing lawns.
And for me, maintenance was out here very much.
So you might be able to make money on it, but you don't enjoy it.
No, so that was the thing. The profit. The annoyance far outweighed the profit.
Well, and it's not so much the time that you're spending there. I guess it's the whole going and picking up the mower that you don't usually carry with you, and then having to dump clippings that you don't usually dump. And whereas you've got guys
it sort of just worked out, not as a bad business venture. I mean, I never really lost.
But you need to taste that stuff to know, because you 100%. Might have done really well on it and gone, okay, that's really good. So these are coming to me as I
unplanned.
Very unplanned. Who do you bank with?
Westpac.
You like Westpac?
Yep.
They've been good. Are you Apple or Android?
Apple.
Yep. And so you like the computers and the phones, the whole suite?
Everything.
Yep.
Sorry.
For you, not necessarily your staff. But
No, I don't even know why I said everything, idiot.
Yep.
No, phone is the only thing I've got Apple. Then I've got the Surface Pro. I think we discussed laptops. I ended up going with the Surface. Got HP, whatever.
Surface is good for. I guess you can pull it off if you need to. I didn't rate the Microsoft computers. They're Microsoft, aren't they? Where I had the Surface Book, and it was slow.
Well, I sort of tried to introduce that as while I'm quoting, I can have the tablet there and things like. Nothing really beats pen and paper. Like as far as just,
I think from a design point of view, every good designer I've spoken to says you need to draw it by hand first.
Yep.
Because if you don't, your computing skills will change the design because you can't necessarily do the curve that you wanted to.
Absolutely.
And you will just change the design.
You just
like,
leave.
I'll just do it differently.
I just left the computer stuff at home, and when I'm with the client, it's pen and paper.
Yep.
So,
what else was there? So, Xero, Adobe, Microsoft.
Yep.
Chaser quotes only sometimes.
Well, no, it's not only sometimes. Like,
oh, dude, there's no shame in
no.
saying I've got
a
a list of probably 400 quotes I haven't chased.
There's no secret in the fact that I've obviously chased quotes to get as potentially as big as we are now.
Well, I think that kind of growth in such a short period is pretty full on. Like, there's guys that we deal with that are 10 years in and they're happily at 4 guys, including themselves. And there's also
I never expected this.
That'll go past your number and you might and go, fuck, this is horrible. I'm not making any more money than I was with 2 of them. And you'll come back down.
Mate, 100%.
But everyone that before you, it's no news. Like, it's
no.
I think, and I've not run a landscaping company. I think that's fair to say that. I had a company that did stuff that you could call landscaping, but I've never run a landscaping company. I think you either need to have 4 to 6 or 40 to 100.
100%.
Anywhere in the middle.
Well, I'm trying to find that little perfect ground for us now. I was joking around. So Liam's been with me the whole time. Barring the first 3 months, I was by myself.
So you hired pretty quickly and went, okay,
kind of had to.
Yep.
So landscape is not really something you can do by yourself. It was mechanically assisted, a lot of it. Dad and I built a lot of things that could help me do it by myself. But realistically, there's no substitute for an extra person.
No, and 2 is really 2.5, not 2, if that makes sense. Like, so I think when you get to certain numbers, 3 can be 2.5, and 2 is 2.5.
Well, that's why we got the apprentice on. He was the second.
Yeah.
But yeah, Liam and I were joking the other day. So sometimes we wish we could go back to just him and I, and one ute, a couple of wheelbarrows. And you start and finish one job, and you move on, and there's no confusion.
Do you run a specific vehicle brand?
Well, I'm leaning definitely towards Holden, Colorado's. I'm going to look at another one tomorrow. Because
of the cost versus quality?
Yes.
Like they work?
They do a lot of work for their price.
For their price point.
And their towing and things like that.
So 3 ton?
That one there is 3.5. So
what we're pointing at is a single cab Colorado.
Yeah, 2-wheel drive. Nothing crazy.
So it's not a 4x4?
No, it's a high ride. So it tows.
Yep.
So tomorrow I'm looking at...
And you've got an excavator?
No, that's the plan. So that's why we need the towing. I mean, we have machines in and out all the time.
But you can hire from Kennards or
exactly.
a more local hire company that's not a multinational that we like to support.
Yeah, unfortunately they're right down the road from me. So, and then tomorrow we're looking at the full drive version dual cab of mine.
And you lease them?
No, they're...
You buy them?
Yeah,
as in like
they're financed.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So you'll have them on a 3. What is it?
On the 5 year.
5 year
with no balloon. And
no balloon. So
no balloon.
not a balloon fan?
Nah.
Yeah, I'm a balloon fan.
I've got a lot of things to think about, and a balloon is I'll just forget, and then I'll get to the end of the balloon and go.
Oh, there's $9,800 that I didn't think about.
Exactly.
I've always done the balloons because for me, the cash flow's been the most important thing with the rapid growth that we experience. And I guess if you can cover it and not worry about the balloon, then that's good. But
I mean, we've discussed as well that I don't have an overdraft and stuff like that. So as far as cash flow is vital.
That. So then no overdraft and no balloon. It's good because you're not going to get stuck with your dick in your hands.
I hate paying interest. It really winds me up.
Yeah. I just had one of my utes. So with the Toyota do a really good product. And I am only mentioning all this because I want to bring value to the guys listening, because there's obviously going to be landscapers that are like, I didn't know that. That's a ute brand I hadn't thought of. But Toyota do a thing called Toyota Access, which they give you guaranteed trade-in value at the end of the thing. So
I've discussed that with other landscapers.
Yeah, it's pretty. Look, I did it with Pop-Ups, which is our single cab.
Yep.
And that we just finished that. So I ended up refinancing it at 9.8. I think it had due for 26 months at $100 a week. Like it's so such a small amount
Yep.
for that.
Well, see, I've got another little Hilux like that. They're great little vehicles.
Yeah.
But they have their purpose, and towing an excavator is not that purpose.
Well, we don't tow.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
but
we
for me,
need single cab, basic plastic.
for me, it's a wheelbarrow with a motor. Like it's
Yeah.
not.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. And going up to the Toyota with the same bells and whistles, you're not going to be able to get the same dollar for dollar.
No, you can't.
And
I
these
mean,
are
great
coming-
vehicles, but just
And you only need to get 3 to 5 years out of it anyway.
exactly.
So, and that's the other advantage, I guess. If without the balloon, you can sell it at the end of that period, and
Yep.
it's all done.
Yep.
Who designed your logo?
Tide Creative.
And have they done any other work that I would recognise? Because I reckon did they do Space Capsule?
Yes.
Yep.
So obviously, leading up to that show, Tim needed a rebrand.
Yep.
So he did their work. He did the photos at the awards night.
Yep. All the photos.
Yes.
Tide
Creative.
I'm going to look that up now.
They do a lot of commercial stuff. I was sort of their guinea pig because I've known
As in landscaping, or
no, as in
just
when they started.
out?
When they started, so they do HSG stuff as well.
Yep.
It's Cam and Simon. Simon does HSGs, Cam does mine. So we
Yeah.
have separate relationships.
So it's a partnership.
Yep.
When did you register for GST?
Straight away.
Yep, straight. So
I had to.
you anticipated that you were going to be
Well,
doing,
I
or you
didn't-
were on
I
track
didn't-
to be doing more.
I didn't anticipate it. I sort of went, well, I'm going to have to do it anyway.
Wave?
So,
Tide. Sorry.
so I'm going to have to do it anyway, so might as well just do it now.
Yep.
So,
I'm going to have a look at your website as well while we're here. Do you
which
do...
needs updating. So
Yeah,
don't
no,
get too
and
excited.
look, these are... I just want to... I'd like I said at the start, I want to do a full 360.
Yep.
A full 360.
Not a half
Am I getting
360.
closer to a title? Unscripted 360 with Clint Adams. No, so like obviously as a business, you've obviously got your skill sets, which you guys have.
Yep.
You need to then find customers.
Yep.
You need to do a quote. You need to then invoice them, charge them money, do the design, pay your super, pay your BAS, pay your tax,
Yep.
have insurance. Have you got an insurance broker?
We don't. We go
So
through
you just
Allianz
gone-
for everything.
yep.
Allianz
And you just deal directly with them, ring the whatever
Yep.
number. And
home. They've got cars, house, business,
all your business
tools,
stuff.
everything. I
Yep.
try and keep everything in one spot. Like Westpac has.
we've done the same. Look,
Westpac's all the personal and the business loans. They got everything. So
banking gets a little bit complicated as you get bigger, and you've got multiple home loans, and then like FPOS facilities, and then online store,
Yep.
and it's kind of
Well,
you try
actually,
to keep it all together.
I shouldn't say that. My house is with Commonwealth just
Yep.
because I wasn't getting the satisfaction with Westpac
yeah.
at that particular time, and I was.
And
in
you
a
know
bit
what?
of a-
If you went back to them today, it might be different
No, I was just
because it does. I know you only just bought, didn't you? Like
in
6 months.
October, so I had to wait 2 years to buy a house anyway because they need history.
Yep.
So
And as soon as you've got history, all they want to do is throw money at you, and you don't need it anymore. It's real handy. But
it's crazy. When I buy a new vehicle, I say to my bank manager Brett, I said, "Oh, what am I pre-approved for now?" And he would just spit out some crazy
dude,
number.
I,
and you're
I
like,
had it the
"What?"
other day, 150k. Like he goes, you can have whatever, buy any car you want for 150k. I'm like,
How
don't tell me
how
that
is
shit.
mine more than yours?
So, look,
No, but like
it might be, but yeah,
Yeah, but it's
like one car. I'm talking like a
and
single
then
car.
they'll finance it over 5 or 7 years, and
It's
like the
stupid, the
repayments,
repayments,
and people
yeah.
get themselves in trouble. 100%.
It was. I said it because I said to him, "Don't tell me shit like that because I will go buy 150,000."
See, I won't. I will just go. No.
I'm not too fancy with so much shit. Like I built these because
Yeah.
I didn't want to pay someone to do it. Actually, no, I built these because I decided I wanted them on a Sunday and I was podcasting on a Monday, so I needed to get it done quickly. But we don't have fancy furniture. It's kind of not our thing. But I do want a car.
It's not going to improve your business.
If we were a design house or an architecture firm, I'd get it.
People are
because
buying
it would
sprinklers,
be,
and they know what the sprinklers.
That's right, and they're in a
so-
box and it's there. But the car, it's still like I used to have the Jeep, and I
want
my Jeep back.
I was thinking about it in the shower this morning. This is a lot different to the old shop that I used to come to with Guy.
Yeah.
So it's
And we do what we can. Like a lot of the money that's made here gets reinvested back into the business, not into the business.
Yep.
So it goes into IT and additional staff and media. I mean, I've got 2 full-time staff that you could run the business without. Well, I've probably got more.
like DK, you're not going to. He's indirectly improving the business, but you're not going to be able to quantify that.
No.
As a number of
And
value.
most businesses our
So-
size wouldn't do it.
Are you still on the Instagram?
I'm laughing because Bridget just commented on
Of
something.
course you did. Probably making some sort of wise remark.
Yo, how do I listen to this? I need to know when I'm going to Bora Bora.
She's been on that.
This is Mrs. Sand and Stone for anyone that's not sure what I'm talking about. So your whole purpose for working is to be able to take her on a holiday.
Well,
that's her whole purpose for you?
She certainly trivialised it. Maybe that's the only reason she's with me. Who knows?
So I guess we've covered off most things. What's the long-term play? Like, are you going to do this for the rest of your life? Is it something that you can see yourself?
Oh, I love it. Now that I'm here, I'm doing what I do. Like, I love it. There's absolutely days and weeks I'm like, I've had enough of this, but I can't. Like, you can't see yourself doing anything else.
I can.
You side ventures,
look, it's funny. I've thought about what else would I do if I didn't do this. I can't think of another inventory style business that I'd enjoy. I'd happily talk to people for the rest of my life, and I don't really care in what capacity. Like as long as I didn't have to write down anything or read anything and just talk and give my opinion. Like, I'd happily just sit here and someone walk in and go, "What do you think about this?" And I'll just go, "Yeah, I think it's a stupid idea."
Philosophy, you like philosophy?
I don't, but it's kind of it's just my experiences, I guess. So maybe there's another one. Keep writing these ideas down, man. Take a note. But it's just such a good industry, and you've experienced that in such a short amount of time.
And everyone's like real cool. Like,
well,
I'm sure
the cool people are cool, and I think you'll find that.
I've not had the displeasure of dealing with anyone that's not, as far as in the industry.
Our no dicks allowed policy keeps our walls quite clean.
Yep.
And so you won't meet them here. And I think because of the network that you've already kind of been thrusted into, the fact that you came in through the channels that you did, all good companies, all good people, and then obviously, you've got all these splinter cell landscapers, you and Tyler and I guess whoever else has come from the. Well,
there's a stack of guys that I talk to all the time. So I mean, in the same vein that I have mentors, then I pass it on, and those guys, it's the same thing. Like, no dicks allowed. It's like, if you want to listen and learn something, then I'll talk to you. But
if you're going to ask and not listen, then
then why are we here? So,
this what year are we in? So in like 2038, you're still landscaping.
Well, my name will be attached to it.
Yep. So you want to become a director or a less active director, or have multiple streams of income?
It's sort of really hard to tell at 2.5 years.
Yep. So okay, that's a better question then. How far ahead are you planning right now?
About 5.
5 years.
Yeah,
you've got mental plans for turnover, staff numbers.
I would say turnover is more directly in the next 2. I mean, I have personal goals that I want to.
And you'll get to a certain turnover and pause, or do you think you'll continue to graph up? In addition to,
I think there's too many variables. I think it'll depend on the type of work we're allowed to do.
Yep. Interesting.
Well, you know what I mean?
I think I know where you're going.
I'm not at all expectant to be doing work like Rob and Josh and Justin.
You're allowed to do, as in what the market dictates.
What the market dictates to me, I will then form a plan. Based on that.
So if you wanted to be able to turn over $2 million a year, but your maximum job that you could win is 10 grand. Well, then you're going to need to do a lot of 10 grand jobs to get to 2 million. That's right. Or you've just got 1,000 people.
I would say, I mean, we've had discussion of turnover and things like that, and rapid growth. I would say next financial year, I absolutely want to do $1 million.
Yep.
And how I get to that, I'm formulating a plan.
Yep. You got to be careful as well not to do $1 million and make no money as well.
And that's the thing.
Because that's really easy. I've done that.
Yeah. You're going to worry that.
I can show you the tricks.
Initially, it might be like, I've done that. Whether I made any money or not.
It's almost like do $1 million first year and then make money on your $1 million the next year. But
I mean, I'm putting everything back in anyway, so it's kind of irrelevant.
Well, if you don't need anything more than what you've got, then that's the great way to do it.
I live well within my means. I mean, I don't pay myself a great deal. I've got the house. I'll go and do whatever I realistically want, but I'm not silly with money. No. Everything just goes back in because I'm worried about the next thing. Well,
you need to have that war chest for when something comes up, and it could be an opportunity to, buy someone else's business or to get an excavator or to
and like we were saying before, we don't run an overdraft. So I just try and keep everything safe and in and.
Well, the good thing about that is if anything ever does go bad and the shit hits the fan, you can just liquidate everything and you owe no one.
Owe no money to anyone. So
I had something else at the forefront of my mind. I've lost it.
It'll come back.
So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Actually, what I wanted to do is look at. We didn't get any questions from the crowd. I posted on Facebook last night. That was purely just to kind of get some real zingers. And Tyler was really not... You know what? I reckon Tyler knows that at some point I'll probably have him on camera. And to be asking you questions first would be silly because then you get to ask him questions next.
Well, I mean, he did say he kind of wanted to stay out of it. So.
Yeah, that's probably not a bad play. I was on your Instagram before. I want to ask you about your first photo that you posted and the last photo that you posted.
The thing I think with Instagram is because we didn't start the business Instagram until
February 2016.
Yeah, it's a portion of the way through.
Okay, so Instagram is part of your branding strategy.
Yep.
So you got 2 likes. I'll like it there. We'll throw it up to 3.
Thank you so much.
So February 20, I've got that. What is that?
That is a tight access retainer wall in Prospect.
All right. So that was your first job you posted on Instagram.
Yep.
Why?
I think it was just because when I started the Instagram, I had just a backlog of photos I need to
you want to start getting the
be
marketing, and that was one of your proud ones.
Yeah, for what that job was and how difficult it was, it turned out really, really well.
Yep.
So I put that up there.
So you've got patterned concrete sleepers. This is obviously going to be audio as well. So I'm just trying to very tight access with a swimming pool. Is that real turf?
It's artificial.
Artificial, yep. I was saying it looks pretty good. I hate saying that artificial.
I can't claim it.
Good.
We didn't do it. We just sort of matched up to it. But
all right. So that's your first photo on Instagram, February 2016, and your most recent post. I have a photo in a hotel room
with Mrs.
Sandstone, with 33 likes. I'll throw one there, so 34. So you're obviously your
I'd say
Instagram.
the personal page got far more than that, but that is what that is.
Yeah, is that something that you think about your branding, your personal page versus your business name? Do you worry about that? Like, as in, do you consciously try to promote one over the other to try and grow your business, or are you trying to grow your brand, or are you just...
No, I want people when they think Sandstone to think Mitchell Davies regardless. Like, I don't want it to be a sort of an artificial entity.
Yep.
So it doesn't bother me whether they see it on the personal or the business. It is one and the same.
Yep.
So.
And that was, you've just come back from a holiday, so a 2-day holiday.
Yeah, it was just a
Pretty
brief.
crazy. Yeah. No, I'm going on a 4-day holiday, and I feel like it's like a lifetime.
It was a brief getaway. That obviously Bridget took me on for my birthday, so that was really much appreciated.
How old did you turn?
26.
26. How old are you, DK?
25 almost.
No, there's another cake.
I feel like I've crested the hill now. Like, I feel old. I don't. No. I don't at all, but it's still strange.
35 was the first one for me that made me go, well, 36 is next, and that's like the other half. That's the back 9 of the 30s. And
well, I was thinking the other day when we were all at dinner, as far as being in that room now, I have my own feelings about being in that room. Potentially, I don't feel like I should be there yet, but also like deer in the headlights sort of gear, which is fine. But
I didn't mention that for those listening, that Mitchell is the guy that smashed the glass at my first dinner. And for the audio, cut to an audio clip of the glass falling.
Smash! I can't knock a plastic bottle off one of the.
Well, that's why I bought you a book instead of a bottle of wine.
Thank you so much.
So yeah. Anyway, look, that room was kind of curated from my desires around who I thought would click well.
And it worked.
I'm trying to build my next room at the moment. It's hard because trying to get 8 to 10 people to be available on the same night.
I think the group that we're in there, we've been around a lot together anyway.
You guys had worked together. I mean, you'd worked for Josh, obviously. Yep. Tyler was meant to be there, but he
worked with Rob closely.
Was more important.
Have
Outscape, Jason. Yeah, so
I've met Jason a stack of times,
and that's the thing, MLSA stuff and all the events we have. But it was, look, I think that it could be quite easy for you to fall into the trap of you thinking that you don't deserve to be in a room. But
well, it's not even
it's
really
more
that.
about you respecting the room.
I was appreciative, and I was definitely sitting there, not speak when spoken to, but definitely definitely listening. Because I was thinking potentially Justin was the next youngest in there. I think he's
definitely
7 or 8
and he's only just older than you in his company as well. I think he's
7 or 8 years older than me. Because we had coffee the next day.
But he's only just started.
Yep, he's about 4 years
business,
or something.
So, and obviously worked under a similar pedigree. Like he'd worked underneath a director that was an active director that had done the work. And
I mean, we all know the quality of Justin's work. It looks unreal. So
it's funny because in many markets you wouldn't put all these people in the same room.
We're all talking about the same job. It's crazy.
Well, and you're all competitors.
Yep.
But there's no, and I spoke to Inika about it, and I said that I think at that certain level, when you're at peace in your own world and you're not hungry anymore, and that you'll always be fine, you can let other people come in, and you're not worried about them taking your work or.
I mean, we're all sitting there in that room, and obviously I'm on a different level to those guys, but we're all sitting there. We've got enough work, potentially too much work, all of us.
Most of them do. Yeah. It's crazy.
And it was sort of, there's discussions, who's doing this, who's doing what, because we're all sort of trying to figure out
how the market's going to get the market's irrigation and landscaping done before. Well, look, what are we in now? February. So it'll be trying to get stuff done before.
Or in March.
Yeah, March. Sorry. Anyone else got twins? No, that's not fair. They sleep now. I've got no excuses to be tired. Everyone's going to talk about getting stuff done before winter now.
Yep.
And then it's going to be before Christmas again.
Yep. And then the year's done.
Yeah.
So, last year flew. This year's going to fly.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. You got any questions? No. You want to know anything about landscaping?
I think you've answered.
Have you got a question you'd like to ask yourself?
That's open-ended, isn't it? How can how can I do better? That's what I ask myself all the time. So,
I think you just need to keep doing what you're doing and be patient.
And just keep learning.
Which isn't my idea. That's Gary V's idea. But be patient. Just remember, 26. It sucks and shit, and you want to get bigger, and you want to be stronger, and you want to be faster, and that. But
I just think I want to get to a point where I'm not making dumb mistakes. But I feel like that's always going to be the case.
Mate, you ring the top 5 anyone's. Like I'm talking doctors, lawyers, landscapers, dentists. And say, did you make any mistakes in the last 24 hours? And I guarantee you they're all going to say yes. Like, it's just...
Well, it's unrealistic, but it's certainly something to aim for.
The best thing you can do is reduce the amount of mistakes that you're making in the same...
Don't make the same mistake twice.
That's right. Or if you are going to make the same mistake, try to reduce the cost or the impact on your business. So, yeah, wicked man. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
That's it. I was going to say, if anyone's got anything... any other questions that they want me to be asking the landscape clients or the landscape market, comment below in whatever platform that you're watching or listening to this on.
Or even if someone didn't hear what they wanted to hear from me,
give us a buzz. And hit up Sand and Stone. I think it's sand_and_stone on
Instagram.
On Instagram. Landscaping.
Yep.
Facebook's different, but we'll link all of Mitch's socials into our video and to our audio, and that's it really. Have a good day, be nice to each other. So as with last week, after I finished the podcast, we kind of got to Inika and I went out for lunch and we just got chatting, and you find that you kind of remember a few things that you probably should have talked about, or something that you wanted to mention. And I just remembered that there were so many, so aside from Mitch smashing a glass because he was so nervous when he met all of his idols at a landscaping dinner, Mitch also recently got catfished, I don't know, scammed, scazzed.
Victim of fraud, really.
Victim of crime, yeah, really, really, it sounds really formal. So I just wanted Mitch to explain what happened. Firstly, because I find it amusing, but
thank you so
horrible.
much.
Secondly, so that maybe maybe no one else gets caught up in the same corporate cybercrime situation. So tell us what happened.
So essentially, we had an invoice imitated.
Yep.
So what had happened was someone had hacked Hotmail, Yahoo, and an email address that's not actually related to the business is obviously that handle for Hotmail, but I get everything forwarded to the same inbox.
Yep.
They accessed Hotmail and conversed with my client.
As if they were you?
Yes. And they washed sort of everything through the inbox. So there's a rule that they installed that anything from the client went straight to them, bypassed me, and vice versa for a couple of days. And they changed one of my invoices.
So they changed the invoice, BSB, and account details?
Yeah, so they sent a fraudulent invoice, but then sent an email saying, we've changed our payment details. This is it.
So the invoice was real or fake?
It's fake.
So fake numbers?
Well,
it would have had to be
they
relevant
essentially
to the job.
took my numbers and my quote, sort of doctored it.
Yep.
It wasn't a very good job, but I can't get mad about that. It's just.
So where do you stand from a victims of crime point of view? I'm assuming it's an international, it's not a local fraud, or they don't know.
Well, I went to Bank of Melbourne, so it's got to be somewhere here. It's been pretty tedious. So essentially, the client and I are both victims of crime.
Well, yeah. And
in a roundabout way.
And I'm assuming that invoice has remained unpaid.
Absolutely.
Because the client is as much waiting to find out what happens as you are.
Yep.
They don't want to double pay.
No, so I've been sort of hanging out for that bit over 10 grand, 11 grand for about 4.5 months.
There's another good reason not to go buy fancy shit, hey?
Yep.
Obviously, you can't plan for fraud and bad debt, but it's something that kind of arises in business.
Yeah, and you've got to be able to withstand shit like that happening.
Yep.
I'm sort of a little bit fortunate, but it's still going. So whether I ever get that money is going to be yet to be seen.
Yep.
So
obviously you've spoken to the police. I don't know how much you can talk about, but have they indicated that you were one of many, or it's like a rare thing? Or?
Yeah, there has been a few.
Yeah.
But it depends on who pays too, because the Bank of Melbourne have sort of wiped their hands with it a little bit. They don't want to know about it
because it's the bank account.
Yeah, it's like they didn't refund it. So the police tracked the account, everything, found the account. They haven't found the person yet. You're never going to find the person.
Yep.
They're gone. But they could have simply just bounced the money back, and they didn't.
When you caught it early.
Yep, and they didn't, and so now we're this many months down the track, still trying to deal with it.
So if you get it back, great. That's not a nice.
I'm not holding any hope.
Yep.
It's sort of. I think it's going to be what it'll be, and we'll just have to suck it up.
So what would you do differently, or what should you have done, or have you learned anything from? If the police said no, you shouldn't be running Hotmail, or you should have second.
The unfortunate thing is I haven't had any tips.
So this could happen again.
Yep. So I think it's on the client's onus to be a bit vigilant too, because we had sent him invoices before, so he should know our format and things like that. Mistakes happen, he's not to blame.
Yeah.
But
it's got to be. It's as much.
And even the correspondence via email.
Like
I'm not convinced
English.
I'm not convinced that English is their first language.
Yeah.
So
the fact that it's an account in Melbourne could have been opened remotely and.
Yeah. As for recovering the money and things like that, potentially we're gonna have to go to court.
So you don't do anything differently with your new clients and say this is my bank account details and it will not change unless I personally walk up. Well, no,
I've told that's obviously I notify everyone now. I was speaking off air about the bookkeepers.
Yeah,
they sent an invoice the other day saying our payment details have changed. I got straight on the phone. I said, this is this.
Yep. Has it actually changed? Yeah.
Has it actually changed? Please recite me the numbers. And then I paid it.
Because unless they've set up the bank account in your name, whenever you make a payment like that, you have to put the company name into the payment thing. I'm assuming that name's irrelevant. Might as well write Dick and Balls.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I've found with initially my accounts are under Mitchell Davies, not Sanders Stone, and it doesn't actually matter.
It could be anything.
It doesn't matter what they write. If they write Sanders Stone, I still get it, or Mitchell, still get it.
But if they wrote Clint Adams, would it matter? Would the bank catch that? And that's what I'm getting at. Like, what's the point in having? You
can try it later and send me 11 grand if you want.
Yeah. Send you 11,000 rupiah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was hoping to bring some value and say
it's sort of just
be careful.
Was it the email address that your account got?
Yeah. So Hotmail itself got. Yeah.
So you can have double level authentication. You can have dual level authentication.
Yeah. So that's what I've gone and done now.
So now it couldn't happen again.
No.
Two-factor,
and then if someone accesses my bank, firstly I have to get a text. So there are things that you have done.
You
just have to put as much authorization as possible, and it gets annoying, but it's not as annoying as losing
11 grand. Imagine it was 111
grand. So we've heard stories of people losing 200, 80. Like it's crazy. Like mine's minor. It's still annoying.
It's crazy. Touch wood. I don't even know. I'm not even I don't believe in that shit. But I've never ever had issues with that.
Yep. And everyone sort of took the piss about it at first. To be complete,
I still laugh.
It's just
and that's horrible. But I really think it's like
it's a pain in the ass. And
too bad.
It's literally you can't do anything about it.
Ripped off. Like welcome to the big boys.
But the hard thing is, I'm still entitled to the money at the end of the day because
they paid it into the wrong account, and then you've got to go through that whole process of suing your client. That's just ripped off.
It's this really grey area and emotion comes into it. So it's non-payment for a completed job. So technically, we can go to court over it. I don't want to.
Nah,
because that's a dick move.
Well, it was a result of your email
being hacked as well. Yeah. So then, if it did go to court, I could see it. Like it's going to come down to a judge on the day.
So messy.
You dump 5 or 7 grand. Obviously, it's a small claim, so you got to represent yourself. But then the judge goes, "Well, sorry, mate."
And it's going to take years to resolve, regardless. So just sit on it for a while. And
the amount of mental energy that you can spend eating yourself up.
I can make that 10 grand back.
That's right. You go fucking dig some more holes and
just work a bit harder. Yeah. Like it's not the first time I've lost money.
And treat it well. A lot of people lose money by paying for a university course and doing nothing with it.
Yep.
That's a really, really healthy business lesson that you've learned.
We've had a few. Not to detract from that, we've had a few clients, that are non-payers on really minuscule amounts, and you don't end up, it sort of is what it is, and you don't end up chasing, but it adds up. So it's not the first time.
Do you have a debt collection company that you work with? That's a question that I should have asked you a little bit earlier. Like, have you got someone that takes
not as of yet, but the bookkeepers are, that's part of their job as well.
Yeah.
So
because they chase money, but then when it has to go to the next level,
then
the reason I asked my next guest is Wade Beckersey, who's he owns a company called Mercantile Collection Services, I believe. CPA, and he does terms and conditions and debt collection.
Yep. I mean, there's a whole lot of ways that we could go about it. Legally is probably the best one.
yeah.
While we're getting...
It depends who you're chasing as well.
Yep.
And you mentioned earlier that that you, obviously when we were talking off air, that your team, like you wouldn't be able to do it without your team.
Yeah, it's sort of one of the points
Like
I really
they make
wanted.
it easier.
Yeah, it's sort of one of the points I really wanted to get across during the podcast is you're only as good as the people you got around you.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously I've had Liam. Liam is essentially your Matt.
Yep.
So, you know...
But maybe... Oh, as in you're right. I mean, I've had Chris longer than Matt, but...
Yeah, you know, you go to your dependable...
Actually, it's funny because I've got more than one Matt.
Okay.
So, as in...
Yeah.
Obviously, from the outside, you'd see Matt.
And you'll see Liam. So, you know, you go to your dependable. He's always there, you know.
Yep.
And without... Essentially, because he came on so early too.
Yep.
Essentially, without him, there would be no Sandstone.
And he understands your decision making, and he'll go.
100%.
This is what Mitch would do.
He questions nothing.
Yep.
And
which is sometimes dangerous, but
well,
you just fucking
no,
do it.
he has his own.
Because I told you to.
No, but he
do it.
doesn't. No, it's not true. Like,
Yeah.
if he's got a suggestion that he wants to put across, absolutely. But as far as
Yep.
and I've had the question posed to me a lot lately is, you know, how are your boys dealing with you not being there?
Yep.
No, that's questioned either. So,
Yep.
you know, and there's perks for him. Like, it's not like I'm like just using.
That was
going to
be my next question. Like, so obviously, publicly recognizing their good work is a good way to acknowledge them. But is there other things?
Yeah,
that
it's not just a Facebook post.
Like-
I mean, there's incentives.
you know, and none of it's planned. If you'll just be like, I'm going to get the boys a carton today, or
Yeah, there's.
We're
I
gonna
mean,
go out for
look,
lunch and I'm
we
paying for
spoke
it.
on the phone the other day. I mean, they got a stack of work done the other day, and
Yep.
the incentive was, you know, if you get X done for the day, you know, you can all have a carton. Now that's
not everyone's motivated by that, but it's interesting.
No,
but your guys might all be motivated.
But that's not a regular thing. That's not like these boys are alcoholics, just feed them beer.
Yeah.
But there's, you know, go-karting days, there's dinners, cash.
And do you think
like
that's
monetary
moving
payments
forward that's going to become more required in our work, in your workforce?
I think in landscaping, there's so few good people. There's great people, but the good employees and things are taken.
Yep.
So I've essentially had to build my own, and I don't want them to leave.
Well, I'm the same here. Like, the irrigation industry is under-serviced from an available employee point of view. So all I've done is gone, well, if I can't go get them, I'll make them.
You make them, but you've got to make them want to stay too.
So
So-
we talked about that. That was another post. Basically, I was when I met with Dion, and again, not my idea, but something that I definitely subscribe to is you want to train your staff that they're good enough to leave, and then don't give them a reason to.
Yep.
Because you'll always have really high quality staff. And I mean, I've got truck drivers and McDonald's burger flippers, and
Yep.
you know,
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
they're all now high level irrigation staff.
Yep.
You
You can teach people what they want to learn.
You just want the right people.
You want the right people, and the no dicks allowed. It comes across to us too.
Yeah.
But I mean, all the boys that I've got, like I'm sitting here having a conversation with you for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
I'm not stressed.
Yeah,
So,
that's right. And fuck, I need an no dicks allowed. Like,
Yeah, like poster behind you.
but I think
I almost want a brick or something with it carved in it.
But I think
Anyway.
that transfers to customers too. So obviously, if
Mate,
they,
the no dicks allowed for us was for customers before it was for staff.
and the customer, if they can relate to your boys and talk to them and not just feel like some dude's rocking up, banging out a job and leaving, and it's all very personal,
Yep.
then, you know, you look better for it anyway.
And I think that the playing the long game, those guys will, like, if they see value in growing with Sand and Stone and the potential that they've got.
Oh, look, at the end of the day,
You know.
if they don't even if they don't care about the work at the end of the day, they absolutely do care. But if they don't
Yeah.
care that they're producing landscaping, if they're expanding Sand and Stone at the absolute rudimentary level, they're earning more money.
Yep.
Like, I'm not just filling my pockets, I'm filling their pockets.
If money's their driving force,
if money's the driving force, but you know, there's
which
a
I
lot.
struggle to understand how it's not everyone's driving force, but
Yeah, but,
apparently
you know,
some people
well,
are driven
one
by
of-
other things.
I mean, one of the boys that works with me, he's gone to Peru at the end of the year
Yeah.
for 5 years to do a mission. So money,
No, that's
he don't
right.
give- he don't
no,
give a
but
shit.
he does give a shit. He needs enough money to help the other people.
yeah,
Yeah, and look, I joke, like, there's a lot of stuff I do that takes money out of our day to day. I used to think it was about money. Now it's the adrenaline I get. It's ego actually for
Yep,
me more than money. It's
100%.
about winning.
I don't give a toss
So-
about how much money's in my pocket.
I need
or
enough
whatever.
money to buy more access to better dopamine hits that I get from Facebook, winning jobs, beating our competitors, and killing it. Like, that's
Yeah.
what I need money for my dopamine.
Well, I think even sitting in that room the other day, that's the thing that gets me excited.
rush, eh?
Not like, oh, we won X job. Like, we're winning jobs now that potentially 2.5 years ago I'd never dream of. Like, we got a couple of $100,000 and, you know, things like that. And you're like,
And,
yeah, cool.
And I'll tell you this right now, man. There are dudes that have been trading for 10, 12, 14 years that have not touched anywhere near like the 10s and the 20s, let alone the hundreds. So
Yep.
definitely be conscious to, I guess, be grateful for
I'm
that.
absolutely grateful. And I would
yeah.
never begrudge someone for not having done that either.
No. I'm not saying it for that reason.
Oh, no, I appreciate that. But I mean, we're all sort of making our way. And they probably don't want the headache.
There's dudes that want it. They just haven't. I don't think they've sat down and made a clear plan around how they're going to get there.
I'm more than like I was speaking to BT the other day. He does great work from what I can tell on a smaller scale.
Yep.
And we were having a discussion about how he could potentially, you know, expand it, because I think he's been going 6 or 7 years, but hasn't really had anyone to talk to him about it either.
Well, and it's hard because you become so isolated, and there's no network, and that's why I did.
And because he's out there as well. Like,
so there's no networking opportunities, and this is something that the MLSA needs to work on as well, and I'm sure Nick has got it in her list of shit to do, but that's why we do training events and why we do dinners and fucking breakfasts and barbecues and whatever else, because you'll come here, like even at our end of month breakfast, you've got 30 or 40 landscapers will come through during that day. Now, if you really wanted to do some networking, you sit on my stair for 4 hours and just sit there.
Well,
you did it at that last event.
At the end of financial... I said it was like 5 hours?
Yeah, and just sat there and spoke to everyone. And so when people go, oh, that's interesting, why has Mitch got so much work? Because he fucking sat there for 5 hours and talked.
And I'm sort of like...
And listened.
I'll talk to anyone, like I don't give a shit. There's dudes all over the country that I'll just DM or whatever and say, hey man, like...
Slide in on the DM.
Well, 100%. Like I'll say, hey, nice job, man. Like, and I'll chat to them. I don't give a shit.
Dude,
and if they don't want to talk to me, they don't want to talk
I've converted 2 customers in the last 7 days on Instagram by commenting on their post, and this is another Gary Vaynerchuk thing, so salute to Gary V. What is it, the $1.80 rule? Give your 2 cents on 90 posts a day. I did 4 cents in 1 week, and both of them said, hey, how do I buy from you?
Yep.
What do I need to do? Like, how do I buy from you?
It's no brainer if you just fucking talk, because if people don't know, they're not going to do it. So if you're there,
it needs to be real as well.
Yeah. Well, I'm not throwing a sales pitch around. Just like,
or just like
hey,
copy and paste. Nice job. And like then they're like sitting next to their mate. And they're like, check this out. Fucking nice job.
No, well, like so. Perfect example is I'm getting ready to come home yesterday from Melbourne. Stonemason started following me on Instagram.
Yep.
Had a look at his work, look at his website. I was like, that looks like someone I want to work with.
Yeah.
Contacted him straight away. Yep. Completely informal, you know.
Yep.
Do you want to catch up for coffee? And he goes, oh, look, I've seen the Utes around anyway. Wanted to talk to you regardless.
Yep.
Let's go out.
Because he was actually coming at you, not the other way. It just worked that you're both going. So you don't need to go to these like Hilton Hotel 8:30 in the morning, stand there with your name tag and make sure you talk to 3 people. Like, the networking's here now.
It's changing.
It's not.
And you know what?
Changed.
You can be late. You can be lazy as fuck, lay in bed, scrolling through whatever, and just have a chat to someone.
And I don't do enough of it. You know. And we know anyway.
I probably do a lot of it. So I do. So just talking to people. I mean,
enjoy your time while you have it, because eventually
it's going to change again.
Mr. and Mrs. Sand and Stone will have mini Sand and Stone 1 and mini Sand and Stone 2.
Well,
maybe.
But that comes straight back into business as well. So I'm potentially going to buy that Colorado tomorrow. Now that's going to be a 4-door Colorado.
Oh, does Mrs. Sand and Stone.
But if you think about it, as a business point of view, you got it the loan term for 5 or 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have that car.
Yep.
So you've got to cater for things like, and that's not like I'm planning to have a kid. I'm just like it.
I bought my Triton because I was going to buy a vineyard and then give it to the guy that ran my vineyard. That fell apart. But
okay.
It was the plan.
Yeah.
And now I've got 3 kids.
But you don't plan like a month ahead. Like I'm planning.
No.
What am I? 26. Potentially by the time I'm 30, I'm still gonna have the car.
And it's very real that you could be married and have kids in 5 to 7 years. Yeah. Very real.
So you've just got to factor that into what you're doing. Because if I went out and bought another one of them, that's not it doesn't make sense.
Then you got to hire more staff. You got to win more work.
And you got to buy more. Then I've got to have a second car.
There you go. You heard it first here on the Unplanned Waterpro podcast PS session. Mitch is going to make his own staff rather than hire them, starting soon in the dual cab. Thanks again, man.
Thanks, mate.